Size astonishes. It's as tall as a 6-story building, 2/3 as long as an American football field, and it's made of 6 million parts. And oh yeah, it flies. In fact, early versions have carried more than 5.5 billion people, the equivalent of 80% of the world's population. Now Boeing has reinvented the iconic 747, a task just as monumental as the airplane itself.
So the 747-8 is our new version of the 747. We've changed it, we've upgraded it. To bring about that change, you have to be innovative. You have to be innovative and creative. You have to think of new solutions and new methods of bringing upon the changes that you're looking for.
Adding a new wing to a jetliner is a very big task. Adding 4 gigantic new engines at the same time is like designing a whole new airplane. Making the job even more challenging, airlines wanted the 747-8 to feel and fly like legacy 747s that pilots and passengers know and love. This commonality saves airlines millions in flight crew training.
What my job entails is integrating a complex system like the engine onto a complex system like an airplane to make sure that the engine computer communicates with the airplane computers and the airplane computers work with the engine computers.
For a number of reasons, it's essential that the new wing, engines, and airplane systems work in perfect combination. That's why the Boeing Engine Controls team spent months in some of the most advanced labs of their kind. The team tested every imaginable scenario before an engine was ever placed on the wing.
People don't see behind the scenes how much work we put into it. And then we have an extensive flight test program where we run the system through the ringers.
The new Queen of the Skies is called the 747-8 because it's based on 787 technology. The wing is lighter with greatly improved aerodynamics, and the engines are the cleanest, quietest, and most fuel-efficient turbofans ever built for an aircraft of this size.
On the propulsion side, the 2 big improvements are fuel efficiency and a 30% reduction in noise compared to its predecessor, the 747-400.
With its new wing and engines, the 747-8 is powerful enough to lift nearly 1 million pounds and fly almost 8,000 nautical miles. But chances are, the only difference most passengers will ever feel is that their flight is quieter, which for some people is a really good thing.
In a global engineering project of extraordinary scale, destined for gas fields previously thought too challenging, Shell is building a floating facility that will liquefy natural gas at sea. Piece by piece, 14 gas plant modules have been built on a quayside, then carefully lifted onto a giant hull. Now the last module is ready for installation, and Prelude is taking shape.
Getting the last module, that's a real accomplishment by everybody, and from now on progress won't be that visible, but on the other hand, of course, there's a lot of work to do still.
There are 3,000 piping connections to make, 450 kilometers of cabling to pull. So now that the forest of yellow steel is now going to get connected together, so it's one piece.
This cargo tank, which is for LNG, is 39,000 cubic meters. It's difficult to imagine.
We're in the liquefaction module and we're at the very heart of the liquefaction process with this refrigerant loop being assembled now. For topsides only, we got 60,000 pair of flanges to make. Everyone has to be done right.
We're at the front of Dry Dock 1 here, where our 7 MLAs, marine loading arms, have been for the last few months. As you can see, they're all assembled, ready to be lifted, ready for FLNG. So hopefully we get to see that in the next few days.
last module coming on the deck, then now the real work will start.
Now, if you were climbing Mount Everest, I think we are well past base camp, but there's still quite a long way to go. And of course, as you go, it gets narrower and narrower.
Tell you what, I'm going to give another analogy. I'm going to talk about Wales winning the Rugby World Cup. We're just getting ready for the semi-final.
Up to 670 miles per hour, above land or underground. This is Hyperloop, a new mode of transportation that has been developed by Hyperloop One. It starts with an electric motor, which is broken up into two basic components: the rotor, which rotates, and the stator, which is stationary. The stator is an electromagnet, so when an electric current passes through it, the rotor is magnetically attracted to spin. Unlike a normal electric motor, the Hyperloop One motor isn't circular, it's linear. And the rotor is on the pod, which is propelled magnetically as it moves over the stator. Hyperloop One's unique technology uses magnetic levitation to guide and lift the pod off the track. Nearly all of the air inside the Hyperloop tube is removed using a series of vacuum pumps. This effectively creates our own sky inside the tube, as if you were quietly flying at 200,000 feet above sea level. This reduces drag so only the smallest amount of electricity is needed to achieve extraordinary speeds, and creates a more cost and energy efficient system than high-speed rail or airline transport. Hyperloop One will be automated by the most advanced systems in the world, allowing a safe and efficient journey that's never delayed or overbooked. Hyperloop is the first new form of public transportation in over 100 years.
Ready for tests?
Firing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire.
Two, 3, 4, 5. They are all here to mark the 20th anniversary of the first of their kind. The first of a fleet of aircraft which has greatly contributed to the success of Airbus. 20 years of a story that is far from over. Welcome on board the Beluga, or more exactly on board Tango Alpha, the first of the family. It's difficult to talk about the Beluga without mentioning its predecessor, the aircraft that for several years was the solution to Airbus's transport issues, the Super Guppy, the B377. But very quickly, as Airbus began to develop, so did the company need for a larger air transport solution. The Super Guppy headed slowly but surely towards retirement. SATIC, a joint venture between Aerospatiale and Daimler Aerospace, was created to work on a replacement.
Il ne faut pas oublier que c'est un avion qui a eu son premier vol en 1965 et que, bien ma foi, c'est un avion qui, vieillissant, il fallait penser à un moment ou à un autre à son remplacement.
The engineers designing the new cargo aircraft had to be sure that it could keep up with the aircraft manufacturer's growth. So they had to anticipate the future and make sure this new aircraft was capable of carrying parts of Airbus aircraft from programs that would only see the light of day many years later. They had to design, build, and get off the ground a totally new aircraft.
The spirit was, we are part of a great thing. We built an aircraft never built before, because when you look to the strength of the fuselage and so on, there are quite high requirements on stress, for example. And yeah, they were all motivated. They brought their power, their intelligence, their creativity into the SATIC company.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rollout ceremony of the first Airbus Super Transporter.
As usual with Airbus, things moved quickly, even if the challenge was enormous.
C'est un avion très docile, un peu différent d'un Airbus habituel, mais c'est un bon avion facile à contrôler.
Entry into service of Beluga number 5, the family was complete. And the miles and the missions started to clock up.
Le Beluga par rapport au Super Cupid transporte 2 fois plus de charge, va 2 fois plus vite. Donc les sections que l'on transportait à l'époque sont doublées maintenant. C'est une avancée énorme et heureusement pour nous parce que vu l'augmentation des cadences, le Cupid n'aurait pas pu suivre.
In 1 year, the Belugas spend over 6,000 hours navigating Europe's skies. This represents on average 500 hours a month and more than 60 flights a week between 11 different sites, with a high level of operational reliability. This shows what an important part the Belugas play in the production of Airbus aircraft.
C'est bien d'arriver à 6000, ça veut dire que l'ensemble du dispositif de transport a progressé en même temps que l'avion était là. Le côté extraordinaire de la chose, c'est pas que l'avion les fasse, c'est que le système permette de les faire.
The contribution of a Beluga to the production of an Airbus goes from 8 flight hours for an A320 to more than 40 for an A350. It carries major components for all Airbus programs, such as fuselage sections, wings and tails for Airbus A320 family and A330. Along with a growing number of elements for the A350 XWB. This says a lot about the Beluga's ability to keep up with Airbus's production needs. With its cargo hold capable of transporting a payload of up to 47 tons, the Beluga has also performed more unusual missions. After all, when you do your job perfectly at Airbus, you earn the right, from time to time, to explore other horizons. The Belugas are a key element of Airbus's industrial setup and its logistics and transport system. As the company ramps up production to meet a record order backlog, the Beluga fleet activities, as well as its overall pace of operations, will grow accordingly. The team has the objective of reaching 10,000 flight hours a year in 2017. This will be made possible thanks to the opening of integrated loading facilities and overall improvements to the Beluga operations.
The biggest challenge for our team is to absorb this increase in production rate for all programs. We have an increase in production of Beluga flight hours between 10 to 15% yearly for the years to come. So it's a very significant positive growth that we need to fulfill.
A lot has been accomplished in 2 decades, and there is much more to come. But what a plane! When you do catch a glimpse of it, whether it's doing its job day in, day out, or performing as part of an air display team, you ask yourself, how does this odd-looking bird with the name of a famous whale manage, 20 years on, to fly with such grace?
To create something unique, a masterpiece of art in its own right, precious, intuitive, and of lasting value. That has been the guiding principle and passion of Carlo, Jean, Rembrandt, and Ettore Bugatti. According to the ingenious founder, Ettore, every Bugatti had to be a holistic masterpiece in art, form, and technique, thus creating automotive legends like the Bugatti Type 35, the Royale, and the iconic Atlantic. From both a technical and aesthetic point of view, the Bugatti Veyron was the company's latest masterpiece, with breathtaking performance and of striking beauty. Now, it's time to move forward and to see the next step. The Bugatti Chiron.
With